Positive psychology asks the question, what is there in life over and above not being miserable? What is happiness? What is it that free people who are not suffering choose? I think what they choose is PERMA, positive emotion, engagement, good relationships, meaning and purpose, and accomplishment. Positive psychology is the study of PERMA and how to build more of it in the world. I spent my life up till 20 years ago working on misery. Schizophrenia, depression, hopelessness, helplessness, drug addiction, divorce, panic, suicide. And when I looked across the board at what I had done, but more generally what psychology had done, it was about the relief of suffering. Very good, glad we did it. But is the relief of suffering all there is to what people want? And I think the answer is no. Not getting it wrong is not the same thing as getting it right. People want things above zero. Not suffering, not being anxious, not being depressed, not being angry does not guarantee happiness. It doesn't bring about positive emotion, engagement, good relationships, meaning and purpose. Those are additional things. So it seemed to me that psychology needed more than just the understanding and the techniques for getting rid of mental illness and getting rid of misery. It needed guidance to the good life. It needed to ask the question, what is the life that we want over and above not being miserable, and how can we build it? When positive psychology started, a critic wrote an article called Well, Duh. And his argument was that positive psychology is nothing more than what your Sunday school teacher told you or what your grandmother knew. So here are several things that I didn't know that when the scientific research started to be done on positive psychology surprised me. How long do we live? Well, it turns out that optimistic people compared to pessimistic people live between 6 and 8 years longer. Big surprise, and that's holding constant everything we know about the biology of people. Being a pessimist, being in the worst quartile of pessimism, is equivalent as a protective factor to not smoking about 3 packs of cigarettes a day. I didn't know that. Money. So I thought that the more money that people or a nation made, the happier they'd be. That turns out to be wrong. That it turns out for you, for Americans, if you're below the safety net on welfare, then the more money you make, the happier you are. But very soon after getting out of poverty, there's a curvilinear relationship, and that means that beyond an income of about $80,000 a year, making more money does not make you happier. In fact, there's a downturn at the end, very surprising. And so the question for most of the people who can afford to be in this program and to learn about this, if you're thinking about giving up 3 weekends a year next year to earn another $10,000, the question is, should you do it if you want more life satisfaction? And the answer is no. You should be spending those 3 weekends with your family and friends and the leisure that you like. That'll bring more life satisfaction. When we started positive psychology 20 years ago, there have been since the Buddha, through modern pop psychology, at least 200 suggestions about what makes people happier, what produces better relationships, what produces engagement. So the question was, which one of those are fake? Which ones don't do anything? Which ones are placebos? And which ones really work? So in this program, people are going to learn about the couple of dozen that really work. that stand up against placebos. So it turns out there are between 10 and 20 exercises that validly and reliably increase happiness over and above placebo. And that's indeed what this program is about, and it's the reason we call it evidence-based.